Hello and welcome back to the Battle Room. I am the Battle Room. And today I wanted to say I love when a new format starts. I think it is the most fun VGC ever is when we just get one tournament. The first tournament of every new format is just pure awesome fun. And I try my best to go to every single one whenever I can because I just think it's so ridiculous and so fun. The meta is not established, there's nothing is strong, nothing is weak. And you just get to have fun experiencing a new format. So when Regulation I was announced, I was heartbroken. I didn't want to play in double restricted, but that wasn't going to stop me from going all out and trying my hardest at the first tournament of Regulation I, which was in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, which is where I live. So I was very excited to try to win my hometown regional. I won 2 regionals in Wisconsin before, my only 2 regionals, so I wanted to get that third. Unfortunately, I fell a little bit short, but I did get top 16. I was playing incredible mons. I loved this team so much, so I wanted to share with you guys. So I'm going to have a nice little team breakdown here with Alex, who built the team, who coached me, guided me through the entire process of playing it. And then I will have a little section about my matchups with the who I played in the tournament, how the tournament went, and how I finished. Now, if you're just here for the rental code, it's right there. Also, there's a Pokebase down below, so you can try this out. I've got all my spreads that I used at the tournament, not hiding anything. And I think this team is really sick. I think it's so much fun to play. And I hope you guys give it a shot because I seriously just love this team. And this is just a pure labor of love. Without further ado, let's go into the team building section. And Alex and I will break it down and how he built this amazing, awesome, beautiful team.
We have a koala team here, Lunala and Koraidon. And it's funny because even though it is a koala team, it really just started out because I wanted to use Amoonguss, I know how thrilling, with Lunala and a bit of a like trick room focus. This team was mostly focused on the fact that Luna was feeling really strong leading up to Milwaukee in testing. And I mean, saying that now in hindsight, like it seems like quite obvious. Like, I mean, Luna did so well at the tournament. Lunala and Ursaluna is what I mean when I say Luna. But yeah, they were doing so well going into that one in testing, and I felt like Amoonguss gave a really good way to like enable those two. The reality is with Lunala and Ursaluna, you know, Ursaluna already covers itself pretty well. Like, you know, Facade is a total nuke, and what do you use to resist a strong normal type nuke? But a steel type or a rock type and Headlong Rush covers those very well. But then it doesn't cover the ghosts, and so then Lunala can hit the ghost types with Moongeist Beam. And so that's why when these guys get next to each other in Trick Room, there's very little you can do. You know, there's like, if you can get every turn called exactly right, you might be able to survive, but without taking some serious damage or some really bad trades. And so yeah, I felt like Amoonguss did that best. Now, this might look a lot like the typical Koraidon Lunala team that uses Chi-Yu and Brute Bonnet instead of Incin and Amoonguss, but I wanted to play a bit more of a defensive approach than those teams were offering, and I think that Incin and Amoonguss definitely work much better when it comes to supporting the Ursaluna. When you have like Brute Bonnet and Chi-Yu, you kind of just have to switch in the bear at the right time or go for that very telegraphed protect play if you really want to get your guts online. So yeah, Incin having like a pivot move was a really big reason for this core. And then you'll notice that we haven't spent that much time talking about Koraidon or Flutter, and it is because like I wanted to put Koraidon on the team to Koraidon, Flutter, Incin Amoonguss to like kind of try out that, you know, WOLFE style Reg G core that was doing well, and it still felt like it complemented this a bit better than any other restricted combo. But it was funny, in testing, 80% of the time we were using Lunala, Incin, Amoonguss, and Ursaluna in that order pretty much, and it was working very well. It's funny, the Tangs ended up doing something very similar. They would often do Lunala, Incin, Ursaluna, and then probably like Koraidon or something like that. But yeah, the focus there, just like Luna was still very similar. So anyways, yeah, Koraidon was still a nice Pokemon to have on the team for keeping Urshifus from annoying you, and the Flutter Mane. The Flutter Mane was also good just for giving the team a bit of a higher speed ceiling. So yeah, I guess we can start breaking down the Mon choices, Mon by Mon here, starting off with Lunala. Anyways, so the Lunala, I ended up going with leftovers instead of your typical power herb, and the spread here is to survive a, I think it's maybe a little bit more than that, but the spread was originally designed to survive Life Orb, Astral Barrage from Shadow Rider. This one has even more HP than that spread, so this one should survive Terra Ghost, Astral Barrage from Shadow Rider. And then it hits the special attack jump point at 180, and then it doesn't have that much speed investment because it's nice to underspeed other Lunala in Trick Room. And then so I should talk about leftovers really quick because I actually don't know how many Lunalas at this tournament had leftovers. I'm gonna go do a quick look myself, but it looks like a couple did. With Koraidon. Yeah, there was actually 2 in day 2. Oh yeah, one of those was chemo though. That makes sense. Anyways, so yeah, only one other person figured that out. Shout outs to Ronald Reagan, Ryan Reagan. Anyways, yeah, leftovers is so gas, as Colin can attest to. Just the fact that you can get your Shadow Shield back from your opponent playing passively, trying to stall out your Trick Room turns by switching or protecting. And if they just try to break it with some very weak one-off move, like a resisted U-turn or snarl, or like a fake out, yeah, using multiple Shadow Shields throughout the game can be so powerful.
Yeah, and I feel like also with lefties, it's just a Pokemon that like is gonna be on the field almost the entire time. Like you would oftentimes lead it, and it usually just doesn't go down. And so it's just getting insane value. Like the amount of HP you're actually recovering usually over the course of a game is nuts. Like it does, like even if you're not getting a second shield, or a third or fourth, you're still just getting closer and closer to living a hit and maybe setting up Trick Room again.
Yeah, exactly. And I guess not even. I honestly, the motivations for leftovers were half that I enjoyed leftovers and how I played with the Pokemon, and half that I despise Meteor Beam. And it's not for your typical reasons that those, I don't know, cope players that are like, oh, wow, I miss all my Meteor Beams. I can't run a move like that. I would always miss. Like, no, I'll hit my Meteor Beam if I have to. The problem with that is that once you click it, you just have this like mono ghost Pokemon that doesn't get to do anything else for the rest of the battle. If you have to use it to hit that opposing Incineroar and they switch out to their Assault that's Rillaboom, what are you doing for the rest of the game? I mean, a +1 Moongeist is decent, but you know, if they ever switch in like an Ursaluna, an Indeedee, a Giraffe, anything that's, you know, good at taking these attacks. And the thing about this Pokemon Lunala is that it's always going to be, in a way, dealing with the format repercussions that Shadow Rider is causing, basically. Because Astral Barrage is already a very strong move, and people want to have ways to deal with Ghost-type attacks. So normal and Dark types are very common. They're everywhere. And yeah, Terapagos, another big one that you just kind of have to look at if you're the Meteor Beam set, and that's just like, so, it just feels awful. So Moonblast being consistent, it's very funny, but the Lunala is essentially a clone of the Flutter Mane. They both have Ghost and Fairy coverage with a speed control move, and instead of Focus Sash, it's Shadow Shield. But that said, they don't feel like overlapping because, like, obviously Flutter Mane's fast and Lunala is slow, but also it's just a very strong role. We've seen Flutter has been dominant throughout Scarlet and Violet's run here. And so why not have like almost 2 of them?
Yeah, I think that's fair. And also like the fairy ground coverage is nuts. We've seen it with Primal Groudon and Xerneas. It's a classic. But obviously here it works as well. Yeah, like the Moonblast, like I found myself spamming it throughout the tournament. Whether it was to just like keep pressure on something, maybe make them Terra, or just like it's a slightly weaker Moongeist Beam, so many times you just spam it. If you get that special attack drop, they just might be in a really, really shitty position after you get it. And worst case, you're only losing 5 base power to take that risk. So Moonblast felt amazing throughout the tournament. Sometimes I would find myself just spamming it and not even Moongeist Beam, just in case they were to switch something in. It was just really good coverage. Like Moonblast felt really good, and with the Terra Fairy, you're not losing too much damage. And I found myself Terraing a lot. It's kind of it's not a Terra hog, but it is at the same time, especially if you just really need to get up Trick Room. So like I was Fairy a lot of the games I played.
It is still hilarious to me that this archetype is 2 restricted with quadruple weaknesses, but it just works. All right, let's talk about the Incineroar here really quick. So the Incin is safety goggles with 4 attacks, and I know that might look like it should be wearing an assault vest, but we actually tested with Parting Shot for most of the run-up to Milwaukee before ultimately switching to U-turn at the end of it. But I think goggles is still the right choice. This team wants to have ways to deal with opposing spores, and you want a team that's like has a bit of a Trick Room focus to be resilient to things like spore. So you have Incin, Amoonguss, and Ursaluna, if it can get up that Flame Orb in time, all for dealing with that. Brute Bonnet can be a little bit of a pain, especially those Covert Cloak ones, and so safety goggles plus U-turn gives you some better options into it. And yeah, ultimately chose U-turn because Sash and opposing Lunala Shadow Shields, there are common things in this format, and so being able to break those as you switch into your Ursaluna so that Ursaluna can just, pick up KOs uninterrupted is a really crucial factor. And also it helps that, U-turn can't be taunted, it can't be blocked by going into a clear amulet or something like that. Like, you're just always going to get it off. So anyways, yeah, then I guess some of these teams, they don't run double attack on the Incin, like the knockoff and Flare Blitz. They might just choose one of them. But what I liked about this is, Chi-Yu is a Pokemon that's being used on a lot of teams right now, even on teams like this one. And its offensive coverage is very strong. While Incin doesn't hit nearly as hard as a Chi-Yu, Fire Dark is still just very relevant coverage in this meta. Sometimes Flare Blitzing a Zamazenta is enough damage that, Lunala is going to be able to 1v1 it much easier. And that's just enough. Sometimes, going for a... knockoffs used on almost all Incins, but basically just Dark Fire coverage is still really strong. And then we chose Fairy Terra as opposed to Bug. Tested Bug for a lot of it, but maintaining that Rock weakness against Ivy Cudgel from Rock Pond or Meteor Beam Pokemon was a little bit annoying, and so... went with Fairy on this guy as well. It still accomplishes the fighting resist while not being weak to Astral Barrage like a Terra Ghost would do for you, or Terra Normal. Wait, no, I'm mixing them up. Anyways, but it doesn't have the ground resist like Bug, which is definitely missed a little bit. But you can't have the perfect Terra. There's no perfect Terra for literally everything, of course.
Yeah, and the main thing Fairy was too is like Meteor Beam, and like specifically playing against Brute Bonnet was annoying. So having a Pokemon that could Terra and live the Meteor Beam and also live the CC or Flare Blitz from Koraidon, no matter which restricted they led next to Brute, because honestly they would mix it up. It was very common to see that lead into our team. So having that felt really, really good. The Terra Fairy was just really valuable, and it gave me a lot of extra wiggle room in that matchup, and I think it was a huge part of why I beat the Brute Bonnet I played in the tournament. Like, I was able to Terra Fairy in game 2, and I took the Meteor Beam, and I was able to pivot and reset my board and get into a better spot. So it just felt really good in that matchup, and I never really was tearing him that often where Fairy felt like a liability. Like, you just usually need to get out of your Dark Fire typing when you're tearing him anyways.
I should touch on the spread really quick before we move on from Incineroar, because I forgot to mention anything about it, but this is just the one that gives it the best chance of surviving Surging Strikes from your regular old Sash or Scarf Adamant or Shifu. And then the rest was dumped in Special Defense, and the speed was chosen so that Incin is slower than Iron Hands or Calyrex Ice if they are running Adamant without any speed investment. Those Pokemon land 70 speed exactly. Of course, if they're not running Min Speed, Brave Nature, or something like that, they're probably going to have some speed investment. But this was still just, a good safe point to be slower than those Pokemon and other Incineroar some of the time, so that you could pivot out after taking that Glacial Lance or Low Kick on your Incineroar instead of taking it on your Ursaluna.
Yeah, throughout the tournament, the speed was really nice. Like, there was a lot of situations where they would go for knockoffs, thinking it was like a potential speed tie or something, or they would just try to, like you said, low kick or glacial, and then I just get to the free U-turn. And it's also a really good way to check if you're playing against the Ice Rider or Iron Hands to figure out their speed, because most likely they don't have speed or they're 0 speed. So it's a good way to know, like, hey, if they underspeed Incineroar, that means that Ursaluna they're probably speed tying Ursaluna, and I can play accordingly.
Absolutely.
Or like, do I need to put up a wide guard? Maybe not if they aren't min speed. So there's situations like that where the speed was honestly like one of the best parts of this this team the whole weekend, was just abusing how slow Incin was. And like you said, it's just a guaranteed safe way. You press U-turn, can't be taunted, can't be interrupted, to get in the Flame Orb Ursaluna.
Mm-hmm. So next up is Amoonguss here, and we stuck with Terra Dark, I think, throughout the run. That one is just like occasionally nice against Shadow Rider and for dodging Prankster taunts. It's your standard typical Amoonguss here. The spread on this one survives Psychic from Sash Shadow Rider, and then the item is Covert Cloak. So most Amoongusses right now are running Rocky Helmet. Covert Cloak has been used sometimes in the past. It's not like a completely original idea, but the idea behind it on this team is that Trick Room is a big focus of how this team wants to play, and so having as many ways to stop them from faking out and stalling your Trick Room turns would be ideal. So we have, Lunala with its natural Ghost typing. Ursaluna, who we'll get to, is Terra Ghost. And Amoonguss here is Covert Cloak, so it can get off spores and whatnot against opposing Pokemon without interruption. And so there's a lot of Incineroars, that were running Rocky Helmet instead of safety goggles, and it felt really good to be able to just spore those ones or their partners, whatever you felt was the best decision, the best, angle for the turn. You had that power because the opposing Incineroar couldn't stop you with Fake Out. And yeah, Amoonguss, I just like this a lot more than Brute Bonnet because it's got a lot less weaknesses than Brute Bonnet. Don't get me wrong, Brute Bonnet does end up being quite tanky with the Photosynthesis defense boost or something like that. But Amoonguss, it's really nice to be able to make your team go infinite with Pollen Puff, and then also make itself go infinite with Regenerator. It just felt like you were fighting with a lot more HP than your opponent. But yeah, Covert Cloak felt like the right choice, I would say.
Yeah, Covert Cloak felt amazing. It was really good in Terapagos as well, just because if they lead instant Terapagos, Amoonguss can just come in, and no matter what they do, unless they side Will-O-Wisp, or and you can obviously prevent that with Fake Out or something. But there's a lot of ways that they just couldn't stop Spore. So Amoonguss felt like Covert Cloak felt amazing. I never really missed Rocky Helmet or Shifu. I didn't play a ton, and usually they don't want to bring it versus this team anyways. So Rocky Helmet wouldn't have come up, so Covert Cloak did feel real good.
Now for Ursaluna, this one is not doing anything crazy. People have seen Ursalunas like this before, and so actually, I don't even know if I have any notes about this Pokemon besides the HP. I think is a number for Flame Orb, right?
I took this from my 2023 Worlds team. This was the spread that Justin Burns and I used at Worlds. So I just took it from there. I'm pretty sure it's the Flame Orb number, and then the rest is in Special Defense. And obviously Max Attack. It's all about dealing damage. Like you said, there's nothing really to say about Ursaluna. It gets burned, it gets guts boosted, and it does damage. That's really it.
Yeah, we've already talked about the strengths of Luna, and so yeah, in terms of decisions made here, there really weren't any. Ghost, I do think, is the best Terra though for making use of those Trick Room turns, and so I'm not really a big fan. I don't know why there were so many teams running Water at some point early on in Regulation I. That one still baffles me. I think you take Glacial Lance plenty well as a Ghost type, so why would you want to keep your Grass weakness? That beats me. Anyways, let's keep it moving and talk about Koraidon here. First off, I did realize, after the fact, and it's such a minor thing, but it's just bugging me that I'm going to bring it up. we should have put the 4 in HP instead of special defense, because like what kills Koraidon but itself? Like that's the main thing that it does. Is just like flare blitzing things with Life Orb, and sometimes they've got a helmet or whatnot, and you're just doing so much recoil yourself that you might as well put the 4 in HP so that you have a better chance of surviving your own self-induced recoil on 1 HP. That said, though, this is just a 252 spread, and it's really good at dealing with the other bikes. You know, you always have the chance to speed tie, and if you win the speed tie, close combat just kills them. Of course, Flutter Mane can be there to, you know, mitigate a reliance on the speed tie, but at the very least, having a floor of 50-50 is not that bad. I much prefer the Life Orb set to the Clear Amulet set for this reason, for being able to do some serious damage. And Koraidon was never supposed to be like the carry restricted. It's supposed to, you know, just do trades kind of like a Final Gambit Annihilate or something, where yeah, it's gonna probably, you know, leave itself very open to a return KO after taking that one shot, because it just OHKOs everything with Life Orb and the Sun. But the idea being that, you know, Koraidon OHKOs Pokemon A, Pokemon B on their team KOs Koraidon, and then we have another Pokemon that attacks them. So we're, you know, still up on damage if, you know, we KO'd one of theirs and they had to target Koraidon. Whereas otherwise, if Koraidon gets off 2 attacks, I feel like you're just kind of winning. Like, this Pokemon does so much damage that surely you've done, getting off 2 attacks has put you in a favorable enough spot. But yeah, other than that, I guess I'm mostly just talking about, like, you know, the strengths of Koraidon, because of course this EV spread and Terra choice and whatever everything else is pretty normal.
Yeah, I mean, Wolf won UIC with it, and like Life Orb Koraidon feels so good. We did think about Clear Amulet, and I do think there's like a spot for it, but like this team was about dealing damage with Koraidon, softening stuff up, and I think the Life Orb does that. And you never really felt like, only in the Tropicos matchup did I ever miss having Clear Amulet.
I'll be honest, I never missed Clear Amulet. I'm a hater of Clear Amulet. I want to do damage.
I mean,
Clear Amulet's fake.
I played 2 turtles too, and I got a little unlucky versus the second one, and I definitely think I could have pulled through with the Life Orb. So like, I don't know. I don't think you need Clear Amulet here. I think Life Orb is the optimal choice. And yeah, I mean, Koraidon, he does big damage. I really liked him as like just such a, like, the Koraidon Flutter Mane is just such a complete departure from the Trick Room mode that like it made it really hard. One of the things that I did so much throughout the tournament was I would lead Lunala game 1, and I would have Amoonguss Ursaluna in the back, and I would just win via Trick Room, right? Easy win, easy money, like super easy win. And then game 2, I would lead Lunala again, and instead of pressing Trick Room, like, my opponent has to respect Trick Room because they just lost to it, or they came close to beating it, right? And they beat it, but then I would just lead into Lunala and just start dealing damage, because they have to respect me. They can't just sit there and like double protect in my face, because if I Trick Room, they lose. So there was a lot of times where I would just get a huge Moongeist Beam or a huge Moonblast, like on a Miraidon, or I would just go offensive on a Koraidon and just deal a ton of damage. And then I would have Flutter Koraidon in the back, take out a key target with the first 2, and then just sweep with the with my second restricted and Flutter Mane. It worked out so well. I seriously won probably like 70% to 80% of my games just doing that. And yeah, unless the matchup was super rigid and I had to stick to a certain mode, that's what I did, and it worked super well throughout the tournament.
Koraidon is just like so scary, especially if you leave it uncontested on the lead, and so I think people still have a tendency to focus on this as a Sun team when it was kind of like a Trick Room team, funnily enough. And I can't exactly explain why like Lunala, Incin, Amoonguss, Ursaluna it was doing so well in testing. I think that's a lot because certain Pokemon were getting left behind in the transition from Reg G to Reg I. Like, mostly, like, you know, Urshifu isn't on 88% of teams or whatever. Like, it's, you know, now only on like half. No, the real point is that I think that this team did a lot of misdirecting with the way that it's constructed. It looks like it's something that it's not, or like it plays in a way that the opponent might not expect. And so when you go heavy on that Trick Room approach in the first game, then you hit him with the sucker punch of the Koraidon Flutter back game 2, or Koraidon Flutter lead game 2. Like, it feels so funny because the paces of play are so different, and your opponent's going to have to react almost exactly right, or they're going to get really set behind.
Yeah, I mean, there's also a lot of Pokemon that don't translate well in the Trick Room matchup. Like specifically, I remember playing against a Whimsicott where I was just so confident he could never bring the Whims, because if he did, it was just so worthless in Trick Room that like I was able to lead or bring Koraidon Flutter and just tear holes and have the ceiling when normally he would have the ceiling. Like if he just led Whims and pressed Tailwind, I would lose. But because he couldn't bring it, I was able to just like have them and just go nuts and deal way too much damage that he couldn't recover from. And so I feel like, yeah, it just is like this weird misdirect of like, it's really hard to cover for everything in Team Preview. And I think both parts, like, Lunala is just a perfect bridge between Koraidon Flutter and Lunala, Ursaluna, Amoonguss Trick Room, right? That like it creates this like perfect blend that it just gives the player endless options. You can approach every matchup anyway, and your opponent has to think really hard about how they want to stop you, when you just get to play your own game and just do whatever you want because you're always in the driver's seat with this team.
The Flutter here is a very standard basic one with normal, Terra, and Sash. I mean, the cool part about Flutter in this format that I'm sure many have come to realize is that when it's paired with Koraidon and it gets to run the Focus Sash, it's actually like Sash is the offense item that we've been missing for the past several formats. You know, some of the Sun teams like in Reg G, I guess, got to experience this, but even those teams often ran Booster Energy Flutter, and then when you run Booster Energy Flutter, you're running enough EVs to survive Surging Strikes from Urshifu and Tailwind and whatever, blah. Like, this Flutter gets to run 252s, which means max special attack, and a Moonblast, no offense item, still hits really, really hard when it's backed by Stab and its natural special attack stat. Yeah, so I feel like Flutter was just really good at damage trading. You can say this about most Sash Pokemon, but it just gives me a lot of similar vibes to how Chien-Pao felt on, you know, our Portland team, where it was just really good at winning damage trades because it was faster than you and it hit you really hard with its stab attacks. And so ultimately it could kind of like 1v1 anything in an endgame, but also do a lot of supporting in the early game, of course, with Icy Wind. Lastly, the normal Terra, it's like solid. It gives you more options into Shadow Rider or to trick a Lunala sometimes, but I wouldn't say it's like absolutely necessary. Like you could maybe try Fairy or Stellar or something like that, but I didn't mind normal.
Yeah, normal was cool. It was nice in the Shadow Rider. It would create a lot of situations where they couldn't like freely just spam Astral Barrage depending on the board state, especially if you went to Koraidon mode. So yeah, I think normal was fine. I never really missed it. I think you could do Stellar, you could do Fairy, but normal was cool. But yeah, that's the team. That's really it. Thank you, Alex, for building this masterful team. And also, Alex does do coaching. So like, if you want to learn this team, or you want to learn a different team, Alex can help you out. I mean, he helped me a ton throughout practice, helping me learn the matchups, learn all the, you know, just how to use the team, and obviously it paid off in the tournament.
It's a fun one. I mean, I was almost going to bring this team to the tournament myself because I was just having too much fun with it. It's just like a really good collection of Pokemon here, and I wouldn't be surprised if it continues to be relevant in this meta. Like, is it like the absolute most meta-breaking team? Maybe not, but like, is it always going to have options into everything? It's got Incineroar, so the answer is of course. Like, you couldn't always outplay your opponent with Incineroar.
Exactly. It gives you the tools, like we said, and it is just so frustrating in Team Preview. But yeah, let's break down the actual games now. Round 1, I played against my best friend and my college roommate, Ben Irons. He's also someone that I build with and play with constantly. So he's watched me ladder, he's watched me play, and I've watched him play. So it was very awkward sitting there. Not awkward because we're obviously homies, but sitting down against someone who knows my tendencies, my play style, how I like to even play and operate the current team I'm using was very intimidating and very scary. And yeah, playing Ben is never fun. I think Ben is actually a really good player. He's had a really solid season. He's definitely pretty sleeper. He's very slowly, consistently day 2ing, and he's just getting closer and closer, and I expect a big performance from him soon. I think he's working really hard, and he used to be a really good player. He won a regional. He's been to Worlds several times, so I think Ben's amazing. And sitting across from him felt really bad because I want him to do well. Like, of all my friends, I want Ben to do well the most because I want him to qualify for Worlds. I really want him to succeed, so playing him fucking sucked. But going into this matchup, It's Miraidon Ice Rider, so I feel very confident into this one. I'm always leading Lunala Incineroar. I think it's the best lead into this type of team. It gives me a lot of options. And then usually in the back, I carry Ursaluna and Koraidon. So game 1, he kind of stopped me. He got a lot of turns right. I don't remember all these matches super well, but he kind of stopped me. I remember it being pretty one-sided. And in game 2, it was another very, very close game. I did get my bear set up behind the wide guard, and I was able to just kind of sweep him with it. And then in game 3, unfortunately, he timed out. So Ben timed out on the final, like in team preview, and Ben told me he timed out. So he ended up leading Miraidon Ice Rider with Volcarona Ditto in the back. And unfortunately from that position, he just couldn't fully recover, especially because he told me he timed out. So I kind of knew what the Pokemon were in the back from looking at the team preview. And unfortunately, I was able to easily deal with the timeout team. But still, I think the matchup was pretty tough. Ben did end up making day 2. And yeah, shout out to him. Playing against Ben was rough, but it is what it is. It's a tournament. It's a tournament. Next up here, we had Mark Stewart, it was their first tournament, and I didn't like this matchup. I don't like playing against Taunt Tornadus. It really slows down all of what I'm trying to do. My main goal is to set up Trick Room against this stuff, but Amoonguss is annoying if he shows up, and then Taunt's annoying. It's just kind of a mess. But since it was Mark's first tournament, I felt very, very confident going into it because I did have some plans from all the practice I did with this team. Because I played like 200 games, 200 best of 3s with my team, so I was feeling very comfy. So against this, I'm always expecting the Torn Ogre lead, but both games he opted to lead Tornzation. And in game 1, I said, fuck it, I'm going to Spore Torn and I'm going to Trick Room. I'm going to get one of them. And he actually lets me get the Spore off. I'm able to navigate the game, play pretty slow, get some reads, and just get into a position where I'm able to win with Lunala and Koraidon. And then in game 2, he leads Tornzation again, but this time I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to hit him with it. I'm going to press the Terra Dark Rage Powder, because in game 1 he did substitute with Zation on turn 1. I'm like, he's going to do it again. I'm just going to Terra Dark Rage Powder, pull the taunt onto Amoonguss, and then I'll have Spore Pressure, and I'll set up Trick Room, and I'll be able to sweep. And that's exactly what happened. He taunts and subs. So then from there, I'm able to just leverage my Ursaluna. I actually swept pretty hard with Ursaluna in this game, and I didn't even get Ursaluna in at the perfect moment. The last turn of Trick Room, Ursaluna comes in, but then I'm able to set up my Sun with Koraidon, and then I live a Water Spout. So it all worked out. I believe I Terra'd as well. And yeah, so I was able to take this set pretty cleanly. I think I was able to just leverage all the practice I had into the bad matchup. Because I do think Taunt, specifically, is very good into my team, especially on the Torn Ogre versions, because I have to fight a Weather War, and I have to deal with this fucker who has Taunt. It's very annoying, but unfortunately for Mark, I came prepared. So here we have my third round against Júlio. He was a player from Brazil, which I thought was pretty cool to play against someone who flew all the way to Wisconsin to play. And he had a very annoying team. This team is insufferable. It's so horrifying to deal with in team preview, right? You have to deal with Calyrex. You have to deal with Calyrex Chi-Yu, right? You got to deal with Koraidon plus Weezing, Calyrex plus Weezing, Dozo Tatsugiri, right? There's just so much shit going on. It's a classic 2-2-2, but like Koraidon does synergize really well with Chi-Yu too. So you got another one. There's so many leads and so many options. And the big thing here is he doesn't have Taunt. So game 1, I lead Incineroar, Lunala, fake out Trick Room, sweep with Ursaluna, right? He brought Chi-Yu and Calyrex in the back, which really surprised me, but I was so okay with it, right? Ursaluna ate good. Easy win. Game 2, he opts to lead Calyrex Chi-Yu, which I thought was pretty crazy, but it makes sense because he really wanted to put the pressure on Lunala. But he goes for a Heat Wave plus Astro Barrage, and Lunala lives. Trick Room goes up, and then I get in my bear, and shit is going good. But then he does bring in the Dozo mode, and it's a lot of slow play. It's a lot of stalling, Pollen Puff healing, just going nuts for my team. Amoonguss is so good into this shit, and I'm able to reset up a second Trick Room, timing it perfectly, and then I'm able to just sweep with the bear. So this matchup was pretty scary and pretty hard to deal with, but unfortunately, he didn't have Taunt, which he did tell me afterward that he was like, man, I had Taunt on there until last night, so I was feeling hella good that he decided to go for that change. Next up here is Garrett. So Garrett's team was horrifying. My girlfriend actually played Garrett round 1 of the tournament, and so I kind of knew what he had. I knew the 4 of the Pokemon he had from her stories of playing against Garrett. But this guy was at this point 4-0 or 3-0. He was looking pretty scary, and I didn't love my matchup. Game 1, I remember getting kind of swamped by Urshifu because the Sun, I didn't bring Koraidon, so I didn't have the Sun, and so he was able to actually just tear through my Incin, tear through my Ursaluna, and I never got into a really, really strong position because dealing with Lunala was really frustrating as well. But in game 2, I go for a nice, risky fake out Moonblast onto his Miraidon and get the clean, crisp one-hit KO with Lunala plus Incin. And then from there, I set up Trick Room. I'm able to take control with Koraidon and Ursaluna. And this time I have the Sun. This time Miraidon is just gone, so it's a pretty controlled dub for me. So now, game 3 opens, and he leads the same thing, Lunala Miraidon. And I lead my Lunala plus Incin. And I easily know what he's going to do. He's going to blow his Terra Fairy turn 1, and then I'm going to smack his Lunala. So I just opt for a Moongeist Beam. I do 75% to his Lunala, and I fake out his... and I Terra Fairy, and I fake out his Miraidon. But at this point, the game is virtually over because he has nothing that can deal with Flutter Koraidon. The Lunala is in range to die from Shadow Ball, Flame Charge, whatever I want. And then he Terra'd his Miraidon, so if I get a little bit of speed control or win the speed tie, it goes down to Blitz, and then I can just clean up the game. And that's basically what happens. It was a pretty easy game 3, but it was just that conditioning that I had set up over the first 2 games, and there was no Whimsicott, so my life was good. So now we get into one of my bad matchups. I really hate Brute Bonnet, and I think Brute Bonnet makes it really, really uncomfortable to play against. So this is like the normal Koraidon team, except they have Incin over Chi-Yu, which is annoying, and they also have Raging Bolt over the Ursaluna. So going into this one, it's very, very difficult and very tricky. I remember in game 1, he just didn't lead the Brute Bonnet, so I was able to just set up Trick Room, navigate from there. I did have plans if he did opt to lead it, but I was able to just fake out Trick Room, sweep at the bear, life was good. And I was like, okay, we snuck game 1, let's not choke this, right? That was just a clean and easy Trick Room sweep game mode, right? So game 2 opens up with a Flutter Mane Brute Bonnet lead, which is very, very annoying. I end up having to take Spores, and we trade back and forth, until the game board comes down to Koraidon and Raging Bolt from his side versus my Flutter Mane, who's in Thunderclap range, Incineroar, and Koraidon. I end up just switching, getting a couple turns right, and I get into a position where I'm finally able to defeat his Koraidon with my Koraidon. The only thing that would go wrong is a crit with CC, but he does not get it. So I'm able to take the game, and this was a really, really good win for me because I was so afraid of playing against this team. I specifically hate playing against Brute Bonnet. The Covert Cloak's annoying. This guy's just super fucking annoying in general. I hate Brute Bonnet, but we got through it. We're chilling, and we move on. So next up here is Alex Underhill. Alex is already in the video. He built this team. He was the creator, and he taught me how to play it. He showed me the way, and he knew exactly like how I like to play and how I wanted to approach this matchup specifically. So game 1, he ends up having a really, really crucial survive on his Ogre Pawn. It lives my Facade from Ursaluna, which I thought was nuts. I was like, what the fuck? How does it even do that, right? So that's annoying. I lose the game off that. Going to game 2, it's a lot of back and forth. There's a lot of turns that we just have to make reads. I don't remember it too well. I was locked the fuck in. You know, like adrenaline was pumping. Shit was going hard. I remember getting a lot of turns right, getting into a position where I win. And then, obviously, I win, right? And then in game 3, it's kind of the same thing, just a lot of back and forth trading. But ultimately, I get into this position where my Koraidon and Lunala pin everything. My Lunala doesn't take a lot of damage in game 3 specifically, and I remember just healing back up with lefties. And I just get in this position where I'm able to just spam CC into one slot, Moongeist into the other, and I take the game and win against Alex, which felt amazing. Like, I respect Alex so much. I think he's one of the best players in the entire country. And he's on his main archetype, right? He's playing Kyler's Ice Rider. So it felt pretty good to take him to game 3 and to win because he's so good. And again, he trained me with this team. He knows exactly how I want to approach it. It was a really fun set. I'm glad we didn't play a 6-mon mirror, and I'm glad we're using 2 different teams because I think it made it much more enjoyable. So next up is my stream match. I did do a whole video breaking this down, so if you want an in-depth turn-by-turn analysis of that, I'll link it down below. But my stream match versus Cedric was, pretty good. I felt like game 1, I set up Trick Room. I repositioned really well after the Taunt Flutter Mane come off. I get basically like most of the turns right. And then in game 2, I opt to bring the fast mode. I set up this position where I KO's Flutter turn 1. And then my Koraidon and Flutter go nuts. He does set up Trick Room, slows down the pace a little bit, but all my Pokemon are too healthy, and I take the game. Again, if you want to see this one, I'll keep it brief. It's in the video. It sucked to play against another friend because this is my 3rd friend at this point. So yeah, it just felt rough, but it did feel good to have this a 7-0 going into day 2, no matter what. Even if I lose the last round, 7-0 feels amazing. And there's only been one tournament where I started 7-0 and did not make cut. Only one time I missed like the actual cut. So going into starting 7-0 in day 2 is just really, really good for my mental. So next up is Mr. Joseph Ugarte. So Joe, I've played Joe so much. At this point, we play, I swear to God, we play like every other tournament. And every single time he smacks me around. And this time, unfortunately, was no different. I think Joe had a really good matchup, but also I gotta highlight this one because Joe made one of the sickest plays I've seen in my 12 years of playing the game, right? So here's the board state. This is game 1. He has Grimmsnarl and Ditto in, and he copied my Ursaluna, and I have Ursaluna and Lunala in, right? And I'm like, okay, I don't really give a fuck. You're not burned. I don't give a fuck about your stupid Ursaluna, right? So I'm like, all right, I'm going to Facade his Ursaluna, because he can't Terra. He's Terra normal. And I'm just going to go for Moonblast into your Grimmsnarl. And I see him Terra his Ursaluna, and I'm sitting there like, okay, dude, I don't give a fuck. Like, what are you doing? You think Facade's going to KO my Ursaluna? And then he side fucking Thunderwaved. It was so beautiful. Like, I can't even be fucking mad. It was so sick, right? He's now slower than my Ursaluna. He does not get parried, and he kills my Ursaluna with the Facade. He was fucking smiling ear to ear, and I was like, God fucking damn it, dude, you got me again. It was so sick, though. I can't even be mad. I literally was, like, blown away by, like, it was a very creative and cool play, and it was sick that he had, I really think he was thinking on it, like, 2 turns into advance, and he had this game plan going into the game, and he's just so fucking smart. He's such a good player, and honestly, getting shit on like that was pretty sick. I'm not even going to play. And then game 2, I really couldn't deal with the Terra Water Zam. I think my team does struggle with Terra Water. Like, Terra Water Calyrex can be annoying, but Terra Water Zam is a whole different beast because I can't even, like, slowly kill it with CC or, like, a wide guard against it. It's just spamming body press, and it's just an amazing type in my team. So he's able to take the set versus me. But at this point, I'm 7-1. I'm feeling ecstatic. I have to win 2 games in day 2 to make it in, and I'm feeling good. And now we cut to the next day, where we're refreshed, ready to play some more Pokemon, and ready to win a regional championship. So we start day 2 off in style against Zachary, Mnich, Zach Lee. I think Zach is a really incredible player. I worked with him for EUIC, and I think he just is really, really smart about the way he plays the game. And I think he's very, very clinical and very, very... I don't really know like his like how he plays or his play style, but I feel like he's a very defensive-oriented. He makes the good play, and he punishes you with it. I've seen him practice a little bit, and I think he's just a very, very solid player. And I think we're going to see some great things from this dude. I think he's so good. But going into this, I was like, all right, I need to win this matchup, right? Because my friend Raghav did play Toller, who works with Zach, the day before, and Toller's one of my good friends. And so I had this information that the Ogerpon Rock outsped Koraidon. So knowing that information was huge going into game 1, because I literally was telling my friend Kimo, who's also using the same team as me, I was like, dude, here's the deal. He's going to lead Ogerpon Koraidon, and he's going to go for Ivy Cudgel Volt Switch, or Electro Drift turn 1 into my Lunala. He does not want Trick Room to go up, and he's going to try to leverage that EV knowledge against me. So game 1 opens, he leads Ogerpon Koraidon, and I just don't let him do it. This game was a little bit, I don't remember it super duper well, but this is the lead that I wanted, and I'm able to, do I go Flutter Mane this game? I think I do go Flutter Mane Koraidon this game. I was kind of panicking and freaking out, and I locked in last second, and so I go for fake, yes right, I go for fake out Moonblast into his Koraidon, and I should have known that he was bulky as fuck, right? Because he lives the Moonblast, but I also know he's super slow, so where are all those speed points going? Straight into his fucking bulk. This guy's huge. So he lives the Moonblast, I'm like, fuck. I even crit Fake Out, by the way. So I had all the damage I could realistically get, unless I crit Moonblast, but then it's always dying. But I literally crit Fake Out and it still lived. So I'm like, fuck, right? So then turn 2, I have to switch into my Flutter Mane. He goes for the really smart play of Wood Hammer plus Electro Drift into that slot. I go for the U-turn, and I break the Sturdy onto the Cudgel Man. And from there, I'm able to just kind of navigate myself into a somewhat playable position. I remember it came down to Calyrex Ice and Iron Hands versus my Lunala, Incin, and Koraidon, but I'm able to readjust his Trick Room. I'm able to spam Intimidate and get myself the dub here. It was an extremely close set, and it just kind of went completely off script, and I had no idea what was going on the entire time. Now, game 2, much different, much easier. He decides to lead with Calyrex Ice plus Ogerpon Cornerstone, which is what I expected him to lead if he wasn't going to do this meme shit, because it is such a good lead into my team, is Calyrex plus Ogerpon. I think they did have a good matchup into my shit, but I lead Incin plus Lunala, and basically I just stay in with Incin. I don't go for U-turn. I don't go for anything silly because I do opt to fake out turn 1. I think I just fake out Trick Room turn 1 and he double protected. I was like, dude, what the hell, right? But then from then on, I just don't bring in Ursaluna because I know he's going to try to catch it. So he starts woodhammering my Incin over and over again. I did commit Terra to Incin, so it was a fair, like neutral hit. But I think he really wanted my Ursaluna. I don't give it to him. And I'm able to just slow play the game until Trick Room actually expires. But at this point, Ursaluna is still too hard to kill that if he commits a Draco to it, I'm just in a really, really good spot. He ends up Dracoing my Ursaluna, but then Koraidon and Lunala are able to clutch up the game for me. Really good set, really good player. Really happy with that 2-0. So next up is the GOAT, WOLFE GLICK. So going into this one, I've only played WOLFE. This was my third time playing him in tournament. We played in 2016 where he was using Dialga into my Rayogre team, absolutely smacked me. We played in 2023 where he was using the Ting Lu Chi Yu Gyarados team versus my Rain team. Once again, he smacked me. I did take him in game 3 that time. And he smacked me around, and I was just so frustrated because that was the first time I ever played against those 6 really together, and he just destroyed me. So going into this one, I really wanted to win. I wanted to be the better Koraidon Lunala player into the GOAT, right? We basically have a mirror as well. It was really cool to see that WOLFE kind of came to the same conclusions that we did. We actually talked about it a little bit. And he mentioned that he was testing Ursaluna as well in the last slot, but he struggled a little bit with Terapagos, so he opted for the Snarl Raging Bolt. And so I knew it was a dead mirror. This was all going to be skill. I had to outskill the GOAT here if I wanted to win. And again, winning this meant that we're guaranteed in cut. So I was feeling good. I did have an extra life, right? Because if I do lose here, I get one more round because I am 8-1 at this point. So if I lose this one, I get one more chance, but I don't want to be in that position. I just want to win here and just be in cut. So we sit down. WOLFE is actually, he's seen some of our videos, which is very humbling to experience. But we sit down, we play the game, and I'm ready to go. Game 1 is just a ton of trading. It's a back and forth. I'm trying to set up Trick Room. I'm trying to get Ursaluna into this position so it can sweep. Because I think going into this matchup, Ursaluna is my key piece. Because what sets us apart is the Ursaluna over Bolt. But I would rather have that Ursaluna 9 times out of fucking 10. Because he can't even really, well, he can bring the Bolt, but like, if I bring Ursaluna, it's dead weight. It just gets smacked around. He could Terra it, obviously. But either way, I'm like, Ursaluna's good. I need to let this thing carry me. And there's this back and forth. I think I made like a really crucial misplay near the end of the game. And he ends up winning, right? It comes down to Incin versus Incin Koraidon, and I just lose, obviously. So he played really, really well, obviously. And I was like, fuck, man. He actually got me. He was getting me like every turn. He was just, it was just so... I just felt like he was reading my fucking mind. Like he knew exactly what I wanted to do, and he knew what type of player I was and what I wanted to accomplish, so he would just make a play that beat that every single time. Like turn 1, he didn't taunt with Flutter, he attacks. I'm thinking he's gonna taunt, so I attack, and then I'm like, fuck, you just moonblasted my Lunala, I lost my shield. Now I'm in a pretty rough spot, and I just couldn't, I never could get a leg up on him. So then in game 2, we're playing again, and he honestly washed me in like 3 turns. He led Lunala, Flutter, I just couldn't get into a good position against his Lunala because he's able to threaten Meteor Beam. I have to commit my Terra on Lunala just in case. And so I just never really got in a good spot, and he beat me in like 3 turns. It was brutal. I actually just sat down after this match and just thought for like 30 minutes. I'm like, dude, he's so fucking good. Like, I was really blown away because it was a mirror. It was just pure skill, and he played better than me. So I literally, there's no hacks, there's no bullshit. I was like, fuck. Like, I just got, like, straight up outplayed, and I wanted to reflect on that loss. So I sat down for about, like, 30 minutes by myself, just thinking in the convention center. I was like, damn, I need to level up. I need to be better. But now's not the time for that. I can't really, like, I can digest the match, think about it, let it fill my head. If I have to play him later, I need to come up with a plan, but that is for later. And right now, I need to lock in and get ready to beat my final round. Because, again, at this point, I am 8-2. 9-2 will get me into top cut, but 9-3... or 8-3 means the tournament's over for me and I don't make day 2. And the last tournament I played in like this was Toronto, where I was in the same position, where I won the first one of the day and I had 2 chances and I pulled 2 bad matchups and I lost both, and I just didn't play to the level I needed to. So I didn't want to do that again. So I sat down, I looked at my opponent and I sat down and I realized I was playing a 7-3, which is pretty nuts. Not only was it a 7-3, which means I was playing down, but also, he had the craziest fucking team I've seen all day. We have Leech Seed, Calyrex Ice, Assault Snarl Miraidon, Ability Shield fucking Incin, with Taunt, which is annoying. This guy who didn't come to the battle, Ditto who didn't come to the battle, and then a Runation Sandtomb Tinglu. So, going into this one, I'm like, how the fuck am I supposed to approach this matchup? I've never played against anything like it, right? I haven't played against Tinglu in all of my practice games. I think Leech Seed Calyrex is really, really good, and I think we're going to see it from now on. But at this point, I did not fucking see this Pokemon coming. I did not understand how to play against Leech Seed. And then the AV Miraidon was actually such a pain in the ass with Snarl. So I had to deal with Snarl, Intimidate, and Tinglu, which was just all my damage and all my mental calcs were completely fucked for the entire set. So game 1 opens, Incin Miraidon, and it's a slog. I remember this game being particularly brutal. I underestimated how hard these Pokemon were going to be to kill, and it was fucking brutal. I remember game 2 comes along, I get a very, very crucial crit onto, I believe it was Miraidon, so he was just removed from the game. I crit Miraidon, life is good. And from there, I'm able to whittle down because, right, Ursaluna is very, very good into this team. They can't really kill it. They have to Draco Meteor it. I have Wide Guard for Glacial. And so, yeah, killing it is with Sandtomb, Runation, and Leech Seed, which is going to take a while, but I am burned. I am dying quicker with Sandtomb, Burn, Leech Seed, right? Like, Ursaluna will start to get cooked very quickly, and that was something I was not prepared for going into this one, but that super huge crit in game 2 clutches out for me. I win game 2. So game 3 comes along, and he leads with Miraidon Instant, and he doesn't Terra Miraidon on turn 1, so it takes a Fake Out plus Moonblast, and basically from there, he's not able to position himself back into the game. I get a lot of turns right with the fake outs. I just attack with Ursaluna in front of fake out. I don't give a fuck. I'm just going in, and it basically allows me to slowly get into this position where I'm able to just win. Game 3 was definitely the easiest of the 3. It took forever, and it was so scary to play against Eric's team because I just hadn't played against it. So he was tripping me up with all this weird shit. It was so hard to deal with, but we prevailed and we made it into Top Cut, which felt fucking amazing. So now we're in Top Cut. I'm feeling amazing, and at this point, I'm like, I want to win the entire tournament. I mean, I wanted to win the entire tournament the whole time, but I was like, I can see it. I can see how this happens, right? I dodge a couple matchups. Maybe I play better versus WOLFE and take him to a game 3. Maybe I beat him, right? That's my plan. It's like, I need to step up my play here, and I need to lock in. So I pull my first round, and it's Andew Zheng. And this dude's a regional champion. He's very, very good. We've never played before, and this team's horrifying. I hate playing against Terapagos. Now, you might think, dude, you have a fucking Koraidon. You hate Terapagos? What, are you bad, right? But no. Terapagos is so good into my team. Terapagos paired with Incin and Amoonguss, you have to navigate all the fucking redirection. You have to deal with the Encore Calyrex. You have to deal with the speed of Flutter Mane. It's very, very frustrating. So game 1 opens. And he leads, I believe it's Flutter Mane Terapagos? Something of that sort. Or Flutter Mane, I want to say Flutter Mane Incin, something like that. And turn 1, I just go for Moongeist Beam into his Flutter. He goes for Taunt. I'm able to leverage that, and the game 1 felt relatively easy, easier than the second and third game. And from then on, I'm able to just take the game, easy money, clap, right? Game 2 happens, and I decide to bring in my boy Koraidon and Flutter Mane in the back, because sometimes I like to bring Koraidon versus this. Game 1, I didn't bring Koraidon. I brought Lunala Incin with yeah, I went for Fake Out Moongeist. I remember now. But then I led Lunala Incin with Ursaluna and Amoonguss in the back. Game 2, I decide to try Flutter Mane Koraidon. Doesn't really work out for me. I get kind of bogged down by Calyrex and the Terapagos. I remember there's a crucial turn where it lived a -1 CC, like I was at -1 attack, and a Moonblast. And it was at +1 special defense, so it's not too crazy. But I was like, fuck, dude. I thought Koraidon had the dog in him. I thought he was going to take this stupid turtle out, and I was going to just win the set right there. But unfortunately, he doesn't pull through. I lose the game. So game 3 opens, and he leads Flutter Mane Incin this time, which was really, really particularly brutal. But I end up dodging a really crucial Thunder Wave onto my Incin, which does come up later because I just didn't have the chance to get Para, which was incredible, right? And we trade back and forth. It's this crazy fucking game. And it all comes down to whether Terapagos wakes up on a first turn wake. If he first turn wakes, he'll kill my Lunala. I won't get up Trick Room. I'll lose. But if he stays asleep, I win. Crucially, he stays asleep. I get into a position where Bear can finally KO the Terapagos. He goes for a double protect. It does not happen, and the Bear takes down Terapagos, and I win the game so close. This match was insane. Andrew was an incredible player, and I really didn't want to play him because I played him a bunch on ladder. He's an incredible player. He's won a regional this year. He's super fucking good. And the matchup isn't the greatest for me. So I knew I had to play out of my mind. And at this point, I was like, dude, I'm winning this fucking event. Anything is possible. Anything is possible because I'm playing so fucking well against a matchup that I thought was unwinnable. So then, unfortunately, my next round is also Turtle. I'm playing against the fucking Turtle again. And it was brutal. The Turtle just takes so much energy out of you because it's this constant back and forth of fake outs and pollen puffs, and it's just so fucking brutal. So then I play against Jonathan here. And at this point, I'm like, okay, I did it once. I did it against Andrew. I think I can do it again. So we sit down. Game 1 opens up. And there's a lot of back and forth. There's a lot of trading. And it all comes down to this one crucial turn where I have Amoonguss in versus his Calyrex and Turtle, who had just protected. So I'm like, okay, easy game. I'm going to Spore Tropicos, and I'm just going to knock off with Incin, and we'll win the game. But unfortunately, he gets a double protect on Tropicos. And at first, I was like, who cares, right? Does not matter. Does not matter whatsoever. And then he goes for Disable, and I lose my Spore. And from there, I just instantly lose. And I was like, fuck. Like, he got the double, which was super annoying, but I should have saw that coming. I should have thought about the sheet. I have the sheet right there. Why was I not seeing the Disable play? So instantly, I'm like, fuck. I messed up, right? Like, obviously, he got a double protect, which was unfortunate, but I messed up, right? So game 2, I lock in. I'm ready to fucking go, right? And I lead Incin Amoonguss. Turn 1, I'm like, I know exactly what you're going to do. I knock off Spore, his Amoonguss, or his Incin slot, because he let Incin Tropicos. Boom, he's sleeping. He protected with Tropicos. I'm like, holy shit, I'm chilling here, right? So then I go for, I don't really remember what I did turn 2. I think I go for Spore into Incin again, and I like knock off the Tropicos. I do something like that, because I remember his I U-turn. I switch out Amoonguss into Koraidon, and I think I go for a knockoff into Tropicos. Something like that. And I'm like, okay, this is chilling. He switches to Amoonguss. He's got Incin Tropicos in. I'm feeling fucking good, right? I'm going to win this game. And then we DC. And so it's 4-4, so unfortunately we DC. And at that point, I'm really upset, because I was like, man, this matchup is so fucking hard. I got hacks game 1, and now I got the DC when I was in such a goated position, right? I was feeling super good. So I'm like, fuck, we DC. Whatever, focus up, right? And I just couldn't like snap out of my head. So game 2, I decided to play crazy. I lead Amoonguss Koraidon, which I had never done, I don't think ever in practice or in tournament. I lead it, and he leads Incin plus Tropicos, and I'm like, I don't care anymore. I'm going fucking crazy. I CC Incin, and I Spore Tropicos. I kill Incin. He doesn't fake out. Tropicos still goes to sleep. Game's fucking over. He forfeits, like, I think turn 3. I'm like, okay, we take those. That's the momentum I needed. I'm back in this shit, right? Because I felt good. I felt like I should have won game 1. Unfucking lucky double protect. Game 2 was a DC. Still felt I was in a really goated position. Game 3, smack it, right? Now we're in game 4, right? And I'm like, fuck. This is brutal, because I had just played 3 sets versus fucking Tropicos before this one. Now I already went to, this is game fucking 4 against Tropicos. So this is my 7th game against fucking Tropicos in the past like 2 hours, right? I'm like, this is draining, right? And unfortunately, I lost all the steam. I couldn't get across the finish line. I messed up some turns. I don't play perfectly. I let the Tropicos get boosted. There's a pretty important crit that he smacks my Amoonguss with Flare Blitz when he's at like -2, but he might have been killing me anyways. I'm not really sure. But unfortunately, I go down, and Amoonguss dies, and with Amoonguss' death, all my hopes and dreams of winning the regional fade. And it was a really sad anticlimactic ending, because I know I was playing incredibly, and I know I really had a shot of winning this one. The bracket ended up looking pretty decent for me. I'm not going to say I was going to win this one. I don't know how my matchup was into Luca Paz. Maybe he smacks me in top 8, but either way, I really thought I had a chance. And unfortunately, I went down here in top 16, and it was really, really bittersweet, because I played amazing. I only lost to Joe and WOLFE and Jonathan, and I felt like I really, really had a shot. I felt like my team was ahead of the game, right? We were on that Ursaluna shit. Ursaluna was the fucking move. We had Ursaluna, we had Amoonguss, we had Incin. They were performing spectacularly all day. I felt like my team was like almost the fucking call. It might have been the call. Who knows? Maybe I could have done it, but either way, my run ended here, and unfortunately, I was eliminated here. So it did suck, but it is what it is. I'm very still happy with the team. I got some money with the team. I'm happy. I think the team is so goated and so good. And sometimes when I love a team this much, like when it really clicks with me, and when I'm feeling so good, I don't even want to win for me. I want to win so that team is like fucking immortalized, right? I want to get that team a trophy. I want that medal, and I want to see that medal on my fucking mantle, and I want to say, dude, that was fucking Ursaluna's medal, right? Either way, I'm happy. I conquered my demons with Ursaluna. I had an incredible start to Regulation I, and I'm excited to keep playing this format and to try and get that trophy, because I know I'm so close. My entire season, I've been playing super well. I got top 8 at my first regional of the year in Louisville. I got I day 2'd Toronto. I went to UIC. Unfortunately, I missed day 2. I lost my win in. And then, or no, I didn't lose my win in. I lost 2 rounds earlier. UIC wasn't great. I'll say it. UIC wasn't great. And then here I got top 16 again. I still have one more open slot. And I basically have my Worlds invite here as well. I don't think it's possible. I'm at like 1,100 points. So I should be going to Worlds. And I just want to be in the best possible form going into NAIC. I would love to get an international trophy. I'd love to win Worlds, right? Everyone wants that. But I do think that I'm approaching the point where I really think that it's not just a dream, and it's maybe a possibility, but we'll have to see. I look forward to seeing how I do at those events. Ultimately, Worlds is the goal. Worlds is the dream, and I'm excited to compete at both NAIC and Worlds. And hopefully, we'll have a better team report in the future. Maybe there'll be a trophy in the next team report. I don't know. We'll see. But thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys for watching my video. I appreciate all the support. I really do, and I appreciate it all. I appreciate you guys. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.